Did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So for all the questions, we have to, everyone should try and reference at least one quote if you saw that on the assignment. So the first question is, beauty is important in both of these poems, but in what ways?
So we have to quote from the poems right now
Yeah.
while we answer the question. I think
Yeah.
that's only for the paper. Okay.
I'm not sure. She didn't really say,
We
but
can try
I,
both ways
we
to help.
probably want to because there's only four questions,
Okay, that's fine.
but I have some.
Okay.
Um, so let's see.
So
I, oh, go ahead, Nicholas.
okay, in the first poem, she's asking in what ways is beauty like. So on the first poem, the one that says sexes, I think they're describing the beauty of a person, like the man and the woman, like how they see each other. And on the second poem, I think they're describing more the lady, but comparing it to the nature, probably.
Okay, so for me, for the poem "The Lady," what's the name? I can never say that name. "The Lady of Charlotte." I think that one focus. Well, both of the poems that what I see is focused a lot on the um, beauty of the man rather than woman, and I think that's a similar things that I see, and is compared to other poems that we have read before. Um, when they describe the beauty of woman, they really describe a lot of the physical stuff that you can see, the visual stuff. But for this poem, it did not really describe the beauty of man, but it says enough to tell us that this man is beautiful and charming and stuff like that.
I think in the first poem, The Lady Shallot, like, yeah, that's true. They kind of focus more on Lancelot's beauty, like the guys. I'm gonna try to quote. Let's see. Ugh, or maybe not. It might take too much time to find it. But it
Oh,
just talks about him like um his like hair. I remember reading like
uh-huh.
golden
Yeah.
or like black ringlets or something, and
Mm-hmm.
just like the way that he rode was like similar to like comets in a galaxy or something. And the only
Yeah.
part that they mentioned like her beauty was more of like I think at the beginning when they're talking about her singing and the people who
Mm-hmm.
like heard it were like, oh, this is a fairy. Lady Charlotte's a fairy. And then at the end when Lancelot was talking or like he like saw her in the boat, he was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, she has a pretty face. Like
Exactly.
that's true. That's interesting.
So you guys are
I
saying, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no. You can go ahead.
You guys are saying that the man is the like the beautiful thing on these poems. I think one quote is the first lines, as they say, "As the man beholds the woman, as the woman sees the man." It is just by reading this, you can tell that the man is the thing that the woman is um, like looking all the time, like instead of like the points we read before, as you say, that the woman is the one that is always looking beautiful, and the man is the one who always like have the focus on the woman. And in this case, just on those two lines, you can tell that the woman is the one who has the focus on the man.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think that it's not that they don't like the man is more beautiful in these poems. I think it's just like because we read about like Victorian beauty a little bit that like the woman's beauty is like hidden. Like she's not supposed to see the world. The world's not supposed to see her really.
Yeah.
That's why like the Lady Shallot is always in her house and she can only look through a mirror. And I think it's also like back then your beauty was also in like your housework and your talents. So like the fact that she's like weaving and things like that's what a beautiful woman did back then and she's hidden. And like the only time that somebody looks at her is after she's dead. And then they say, "Oh, she's beautiful." But before she was kind of hidden away. Um, and in the other poem, I think it was just saying like men and women um, find each other attractive, but like they have to like they can't really address it, I guess. You kind of have to like keep each other hidden. Um, what did it say?
Only can look at each other.
Yeah. It's like never can the man divest her of the wondrous charm of sex. Ever must she, dreaming of him, the same mystic charm annex. So they can't like do
Express
anything about it. Yeah, they can't express it. You can't like look at each other. You have to be.
like a secret love or a secret
Yeah,
admiration
something
you
like
have
that.
for each other, probably.
And uh, I have a quote for the first one. There she weaves by night and day a magic web with colors gay. She has heard a whisper say a curse is on her if she stay. To look down to Camelot she knows not what the curse may be, so she weaveth steadily. So like she can't look at the world, um, but she knows there's a curse if she does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I Curly, was it the quote that you were looking for? I'm gonna read it up, and you just tell me if it was the one that you're thinking of. Yeah. So it's in the Lady of Shalott. Say, his broad clear brow in sunlight glow. On burnished hooves his war horse trode. From underneath his helmet flowed his coal-black curls as on he rode. Was that right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. I think we can use that quote from because it's really the first one. Yeah, that was like a clear evidence that they describe the man more than the woman. That the beauty is hidden and only be found at the end.
So I don't get it though. Like she, like beauty is important in that poem because she couldn't. Like the curse was that if she looked upon the beauty of Camelot, that she like, well, she didn't know that she died, but like she'd be cursed and she'd die. But so she, like women weren't supposed to. They were only supposed to like do the work and not look.
Yeah, I mean I think they weren't supposed to like you weren't supposed to like seek after a man, you know what I mean? I feel like that would have been scandalous. Like you weren't supposed to like um want those kind of things.
Yeah,
You were supposed to just like be sought after, but like, be like virtuous and pure and innocent. Like that's the things they wanted you to be. So, but I think the
then
poem's like critiquing that a little bit too, like saying like, look what this, because in the end she dies from it. So,
yeah, the thing that is kind of like I'm confused a little bit with the things that she has read about the Victorian period of time. And you can read a lot about how women, of course, take care of the household, but then also go out and work. There's like a percentage. Let me read it. Like they say, many women in Victorian Britain supported their families with wage-paying jobs alongside their already heavy domestic burdens. Um, and then also say about the family budget evidence suggests that around 30 to 40% of women from working class families contribute significantly to household incomes in the mid-Victorian years. So like women is of course this is for like a middle class. So women go out maybe because they work, they have to take care, they're so busy, they don't have time to take care of their beauty. And um, is that why they kind of focus less on the beauty of the woman? But then I'm, I just haven't really know much of the what is the answer for that. But then a little more about um, for this period of time, like compared to romantic period that they compare beauty of woman with the nature, but it was like kind of like it's an object for men to look at, or it's an object for the world to look at the beauty. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
then
think.
for this period of time, I feel like men's beauty was a subject rather than the object. So it's like a subject that kind of control the story. It's not because what's her name? The lady of Charlotte, whatever. She was in there for many years and never really look or break the rules or anything. But just because of his beauty that comes and it captivate her to break the rules. And I feel like men's beauty was an object more than was a subject more than the object like before.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. Um, let's go on to the next question. I think you talked about it a little bit. Um, who is allowed to look at beautiful things? Is this different in each poem?
I feel um like they're both men and women are like allowed to look at the things. Like at the first one, it said curiously they know each other as each other or as each. Oh wait, curiously they know each other as each other only can. Like they can, but they can't really like go further than that. And like in the first poem with Lady Shallot, she could like look on the beautiful things of Camelot, but like there'd be consequences.
I agree. I think they both look at the beauty of each other, but as you say, they don't go farther of that. I don't really understand why they don't go farther, but I think the ones who are allowed to look at beautiful things are the man and the woman, but they look at the beauty of each other. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think the Lady Shallot kind of favored, like in a little bit of a way, like men can look at women a little bit more than women can look at men, just because of, like she could never leave her house. She had to look through a mirror. And then um, in the end, he was able to look at her and he didn't die. You know what I mean? When she looked at him, she died. So, that must be significance that she
Yeah.
has to suffer for looking at him, but he doesn't. And I think that's probably just like in the time, I'm sure, like, if there was some scandal between a man and a woman, like, the woman would face, like, the worst of um, all the criticism socially. Like, I'm sure she'd be, like, cast out. But I think a man probably back then could have, probably gotten away with it a little bit more than a
Yeah,
woman could have.
that's true.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, and I wrote a quote for that one. Oh, she left the web, she left the loom. She made 3 paces through the room. She saw the helmet and the plume. She looked down to Camelot. Out flew the web and floated wide. The mirror cracked from side to side. The curses come upon me, cried the Lady Shallot. So that's like the moment she sees him, and her world falls apart because of it. Um,
Yeah.
And yeah, and like the second poem you said kind of suggests both people can look at each other, but you shouldn't act upon it, basically.
So it's basically different in each poem. On the first poem, they both can look at the beautiful things, but on the second one, it's mostly the man who looks at the beauty of the woman.
Yeah,
Right?
I also was thinking when you're talking earlier about like the shift during the romantic period, or yeah, romantic period, the Victorian era period. When you're reading about like women and how they like were increasingly like, more getting jobs and stuff outside of the home and could work more. When it was talking about how like women, like even though they'd like get jobs out of the house or even like in the house, domestic work and stuff, they'd like keep it a secret from their husband, and it made me think like it connected like Lady Charlotte's work of like weaving the tapestry, like she was weaving something beautiful, but like no one else except her could see it. And I don't know how that relates to anything, but just making a comment that I thought of.
No, that's a good point. Just note, like, even when they did go outside, like, it still wasn't at the level of a man. It still wasn't, like, totally freedom. Like, I think the romantic period, like Beam was saying, was a little bit more about, like, freedom and, like, showing, you know, they were more about showing their bodies and a little more open to that kind of thing. Okay, the next question are, what are the effects of beauty on the viewer? And I think the question's a little ambiguous, but I think they meant, like, in each poem, when somebody views a beautiful thing, how does that affect them?
So how do we see beauty in these poems, basically? Uh, is that what the question is trying to ask?
I think it's like how beauty affects us. Like, I mean, affects the viewer. Like, if you look at beautiful things,
Yeah.
what effects that it has on them.
I think I keep every time I read these poems, I keep getting the same. I feel like the woman is always the one who is the beautiful, like the one who is the object all the time, the one that people wants to see. That's what I keep getting every time I read these poems. I think that's the effect you got on me, for example.
I don't know if this helps, but I kind of read further on because I don't know of like a lot of like European history or any kind of thing. So like I have heard about King Arthur because this guy, was his name, um, the one in the Lady of the Charlotte. What's the man's name?
Lancelot.
Lancelot, yeah.
Yeah, like he is one of the knights of King Arthur's or something. I kind of read further about that. He's one of the knights that is like really charming, that he's actually get in a lot of trouble with a lot of women. Um, and I think it's because of one of the effects is um, people that see that and just feel attracted to him, and it's captivating them and then drawn them to um, do some bad things, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say because that's kind of the same way with when I read that history behind, and then I kind of think of like the Lady of Charlotte, and it's because she just see this beauty and it affects her to break all the rules and she gets in trouble. Yeah, but then I don't remember. I think about something of why there's this like mysterious curse that has on her that she doesn't even know. Like, you guys have any idea about that? Like, what does it mean from the poem of this curse?
Um, I think it's just kind of maybe like a metaphor, but I mean, you picked out a really good detail that Lancelot was kind of like a womanizer or something, because I think both of the poems suggest like that beauty here is virtuous. Like if you're not a virtuous person, then you're not beautiful anymore.
Mm.
So it's kind of like I feel like the curse is um, like, oh, like Lancelot is this beautiful thing, and if she sees him, then she's not virtuous anymore. Like maybe she would have like an unclean thought, or she's like she shouldn't even be attracted to him. Like not even that she would have an unclean thought, but even just something as simple as being attracted to him is not virtuous anymore. So maybe I don't know. Maybe that's what I think.
That makes sense.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think that like the fact that beauty, or I don't know, beauty in the first poem or with Lady Shallot, to me seems like a little more innocent. Like when it talks about her first seeing Lancelot, it's like the way that she describes it, it just like seems like super beautiful and like really nice. And I don't know, there's nothing like I don't know, like racy about it. Like she just like sees him and notices that he's really beautiful, and then all of a sudden says she left the web, she left the loom. Um, the mirror cracked from side to side. The curses come upon me, she cried, the Lady of Shalott. And then all of a sudden that happens because she looked upon his beauty. But in the first poem, or I mean the second poem, sorry, Sexes. I don't know the way that it describes like um, if like someone were to look upon another person, like a man beholding a woman who's beautiful, and then like acting on it, it just seems more like taboo, like strange inborn profound attraction, not the poet's range of soul, learning science, sexless virtue, human gazer's thought control, but through every nerve and fancy, twined ingrained the sense of difference, like the subtle serpent's fields. So I don't know. The like feelings that I get from Lady Shallot looking upon Lancelot's beauty is a little more like I don't know, tame than
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely more innocent.
the other.
I also noted like she says in the poem it's like a music went to Camelot or when the moon was overhead came two young lovers late to wed. I'm half sick of shadows, said the Lady Shallot. So I just thought it was she doesn't really talk at all in the poem except like a couple things, and one of the only things she says is she's like sick of all the shadows, like she's tired of seeing the world through a mirror. So I think in a way she's she is trapped. She isn't happy, only just sitting there weaving.
But could that mean that even though she can see something, but she sees through like mirrors that in that time woman is not um, how to say it, they don't really have access to the real world, like the outside, like what is really happening, like the politics or those kind of stuff. You know how men would like kind of rule the world and govern those in back in the day, and then woman is not allowed to really know much of that. I don't know. That's just what I thought about.
No, I agree. I think like the object of the mirror is really important, or they wouldn't have picked it. You know what I mean? They would have picked something else, or they would have her like not see the world at all. But she does see the world. It's just like, um, like a shadowed version. So she sees the world, but she's not seeing it like as purely as men do. She's kind of seeing it like through them. You know what I mean? She sees like a trickled down version of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
and now we can talk about what we want to put in the paper, maybe. So this paper says, so just response outlining what the papers say about beauty, how they compare to each other, and how they compare to the romantic poems.
well, romantic poem are described a lot with the nature.
Yeah.
What was the last poem that we kind of read? Oh, it's just on our own, I guess. What does it say about beauty? It was some guy. Let me. You guys can talk. Let me look through it and I'll say it.
It had a lot to do with like the feelings that you have when you like.
Oh yeah, love is like passion and love and that kind of thing. So
These,
basically, like kind of the stuff Burke was writing about.
yeah.
Oh, here we go. It was the assignment Friday. There's a poem like She Walks in Beauty, right? And the whole poem is really like describe the beauty of woman with the skies and the stars in the night sky and how her eyes and um, is perfect as like the one of those nights that you see like a perfect um, stars on the sky, and so it's really describing a lot every details of um, the physical appearance and physical beauty with the nature. But with this time, with this poem that we read, with this assignment is there's a lot of nature at the beginning of the Lady of Shalott for some reason. But it's not compared with the beauty of the physical appearance of the
Yeah.
woman.
Not like emphasizing that. It's like
Yeah.
the something else.
Just describing the landscape and environment around.
Yeah, I think that would be the difference that we would talk about is just like Lady of Shalott and even the other poem, just like beauty's hidden and a little bit more taboo, whereas like romantic, they talked all about women's bodies and curves and smoothness, and I feel like these Victorian people would not use that word, like they would feel like that's too suggestive or something.
Yeah.
So the beauty of the poems that we just read is more like hidden. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I think we kind of know what we're going to write about, and so just make sure we use one quote from each poem, so that's not too bad. But I think we're good now, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.
Mhm.